mouth and figure out exactly what's going on, because we're hearing a lot of things
The
from a lot of
horse's
different
mouth.
officers and a lot of different people. So we said,
Who?
Let's go talk to the mayor.
Who talked to you? Are they in this room right now?
Who talked
Who?
to you?
Well,
The
who
majority of the officers.
Yeah, we'd like to know who the
Yeah,
officers
who have
are.
you spoke to?
Who are this majority that came to you?
Look, see, that's the thing right now. Those officers could lose their job if I were to say something.
No, they cannot.
Yeah. Oh, give me a fucking break.
hang on,
Give me a break.
We have never given somebody repercussions.
When I met with Flop and Cornwood 2 days ago, you called both of them twice to find out what they were doing and where they were. I invited you to that meeting and you said no.
What is?
Why are you stalking them like that? What are you afraid of?
Where the fuck is Ruth?
No.
Oh God.
Fucking stupid ass Ruth. Fuck her. Where is she?
No, I literally told you to leave.
wasn't hugged enough.
Leave, Rami. I told you to leave. I'm sorry, man.
I contacted my officers because they're in the middle of nowhere. 10-7, I answered the radio because I was worried they're being kidnapped. That was my fear.
You called them personally. On your
Yes,
phone.
because you're not answering the radio. I asked them multiple times on 311 on the radio, no response at all. So
Is
I
there a
called the
problem
personal
with
cell.
us keeping checks on
No,
officers?
not.
We're
I
not
just didn't.
reprimanding people.
I didn't understand the context. Okay.
Right, and we didn't understand the context of what you were going through, right? I think the game of telephone is what Crane talked about here very well.
Misinformation,
You have a
assumption.
perspective on the police department, and we have a perspective on what's going on as far as outside of our police department. I think.
Okay, we're going in circles. Can we just do this? Can we agree that in the future, if you guys hear something about each other, you wait to talk to each other before drawing conclusions? Is that fair?
We want an open line of communication.
I'm more than willing to do that. I would love to do that.
I think that's more productive than listening to a bunch of gossip people who have their own agendas and biases.
And
So let's talk to each other in the future. And by the way, Slag, this is not me saying that I don't honestly think there's also an objective need for information gathering. But let me just put it this way. If you think Willie Glory is a gossip hound, well, I don't know what to say to you.
I'm not worried about that. For me, I'm not even worried. If the mayor goes up to an officer and says, hey, how is the PD doing? I have no problem with them telling the mayor exactly what they're going through and what they think.
They
I
were
have
scared.
no issue whatsoever, right? I think for me, if there's a problem or we want to have an official resolution for it,
I'm just waiting
I just feel like
until
officers should follow
I'm
the chain of command. We
unleashed.
should go through Nakota or the captains.
Do you know the name of the cop who showed me into MRPD last night?
Yeah, Buck. I hired him myself.
Well, is he okay?
Buck Fleming. Of course he's all right. Why
He's
wouldn't he
all
be
right.
all right?
I mean, why wouldn't he
Is
be
he?
okay? I'm confused.
Well, I mean, is he going to receive any reprimand or punishment for allowing us into the building?
Why would he receive any punishment for that?
So
I'm asking you if that is what is going to happen. I'm not accusing you of
not.
it happening.
I talked to him, and he told me the same conversation he told me. And I said, that's fine.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask you a question?
Absolutely.
So during the initial, I guess you could say speech when you're presenting this case, you were explaining how officers are afraid to speak due to repercussion. What situation arose that that was your presumption of what happens to officers?
I've spoken to several officers now, and every time I ask them about how it's going or how they feel about their superiors or how everything is operating within the police department, every single one of them hesitated. Like, because they were afraid of what was going to happen to them if they were to even begin speaking out of line. Nakota himself in our council meetings is afraid to speak to the 100% of his job title because he is afraid that it's going to contradict what you guys think.
And I will interject. I want to make this point very clear because I hope this isn't lost on Nakota or anyone else in this room. So for everyone's benefit, the logic behind the creation of some of these positions, such as healthcare, law enforcement, head of the bar, was that if I wanted my own opinion, I already have it. I am the status quo of the DOJ.
Yeah.
Slacks and Turner, you are the status quo of the PD. You set policy, you direct, the vision, and you create the culture. The point of having a PD liaison and a head of the bar association separate from the high command or de facto chief leadership of the department is so that we can get a different opinion from the status quo. So the idea is that if the lawyers don't like something policy-wise going on with the DOJ, They don't have to
She
be
shift
afraid of
one.
trying to go all the way up and challenge the status quo, aka me. They can go through Malton, and Malton can be their voice. Same thing with Nakoda. The idea is that he can go to the rank and file, they can bring concerns to him, and they can emerge things, topics, such
Early
as have
NA
being
slash
said to the
late
mayor.
EU.
Unfortunately, what
is.
the mayor is reflecting
Yeah, and then
is
there's
that
that.
his impression, and again, his feeling, his impression, subjective, is that his impression is that Nakoda is simply acting as a mouthpiece for the status quo, aka you guys, and not affecting the will of the rank and file. I don't know
agree
if
with
that's
that.
accurate or
I
not,
actually
and I'm
agree with
sure
that.
Nakoda can speak for himself. Nakoda?
No way. Go ahead, Nakoda.
Yeah, the officers who, well, I'll just say two things. Number one, I was a bit confused when I read this document previously, in conjunction with learning about the facts that apparently the newly elected chief of staff was going to officers and telling them that I needed to be recalled from my position. So that was a little bit worrying.
What?
Is that did that happen?
No, that's not at all what I said. Okay, there's a game of
Slacks?
telephone that's happening here.
Slacks?
I'm gonna
Slacks? You
tell
wanna
you what
step
my
in?
exact words were. Okay, I
Okay,
will tell
yeah,
you
what
what my
did you
exact
say?
words were. Some people are asking me about how Lance was doing, and were asking me about what the council meetings were like and what Nakoda were like, and I said that Lance was fighting for the lawyers super hard, and that I was really, really proud to call him my president of the Bar Association, and I did not see the same fire from Nakoda. That was all I said. I did not try to throw anybody on the bus and say that he was doing shite or anything like that. I was just asked on my opinion. I was a lawyer. I was not a chief of staff. I had not taken any oath or anything of the like. And I'm gonna go back to that Bill of Human Privileges for that freedom of speech. I'm entitled to give my opinion. And Lance
So
has
you
been doing a
didn't-
bang
oh,
up
go ahead.
fucking job. He's been doing amazing.
So you did not say to anybody that I
When
should
they
be
asked
recalled.
what they can do about it, I said that that's an action that they can try to take. I don't even know if it's feasible. That's not for me to say. I just gave legal advice as a lawyer. I was retained by many of
For the record,
PD.
there is no recall. There is
Yeah,
only
I didn't think so. Thanks. Like I said that would be an option, but I wasn't even sure if it was feasible, right? I'm like, that's something you could try. Don't know until you try it, right? But thanks for that, Crane.
Elected officials are impeachable. Appointed officials may be
Right.
removed by the state.
Yeah, fired or whatever. Yeah, got it. Yep, that's it. Yeah, but I mean, I had PD coming to me crying, actually crying, because they were so scared and concerned that they wanted to engage in a collective bargaining agreement. A collective bargaining agreement.
Interesting.
What do you mean by that?
Collective bargaining for what?
Like a union?
Yes.
Well, you know, if I may,
And oh, Cletus, okay.
No.
I just, you know,
Cle-
I don't like the word union. That's all, you know, just for my own personal reasons. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to speak up out of turn. Go ahead.
Sure.
You sure your last name ain't Dan? They don't much like the union either.
Oh, it just is what it is.
Sax didn't go against Siobhan.
So this is a report that you received, Nakoda, from who?
I've heard from 3 different people that my position was called into question, but I'm confused about the collective bargaining issue. That this was what they came to you instead of to me to collective bargain for.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Are any of the people in this room?
Well, hold
Your
on, Mayor.
counselors
Hold on.
are-
You never mentioned a single officer's name yet, to be fair. Okay, so
I can't
if
break
anything
privilege.
specific,
I cannot break
I think-
attorney-client privilege. I will not name names.
You will get those names. I promise.
Mm-mm.
Um,
No.
Did a counselor relay this to you, Nakoda?
No.
Continue.
What
That's
would
privilege, and
PD
I'm not gonna
members
tell
want to
you.
collectively bargain for?
I'm not gonna break privilege. Crane is right here. I would like to have my bar license back, you know, one day when I'm off of LOA. So I'm not gonna break privilege. I'm sorry.
Could you be acting in your official capacity as a lawyer if you're on a leave?
No, but I'm still a practice. Crane, can I just break attorney-client privilege if I'd like to be a lawyer again one day?
I have never considered the question of whether or not privilege survives someone turning in their bar license.
I've always considered it to still apply.
I have not considered that in this jurisdiction, no.
As someone who has been elected to speak to the lawyers, I would imagine most of them would say that that oath carries on until the death of said client themselves or a written waiver.
I agree. I would agree with Lance.
That is a persuasive argument.
You said you had something else, Dakota?
Perhaps that is a city council matter to vote on.
Oh, that's a good
Interesting.
idea. Yeah.
Okay. No,
Okay,
those were the
yeah.
only 2 things.
Okay. Do we have any misunderstandings about this act as written?
Now that the captains have had a chance to read over it, do y'all have any questions for us?
I already
No.
kind of just aired out my frustration as far as what I think I would like to see. And for me, at the end of the day, as long as good people are in charge, as long as there's checks and balances, I'm all for change. I welcome it with open arms, and I welcome anybody from the city council to come down to the police department and have a conversation with us. I'll open the doors for y'all to see what we do. I'll share SOPs with y'all if you'd like to hear about it. We're not trying to hide anything. I'm not trying to run away from accountability. Hell, I'll be the tip of the spear when it comes to accountability. I'll be the first person to raise my hand and say, you know what, I messed up and I could do a better job.
And it is not the
I wonder if
intention
the
of the
people who
mayor's
fear
office to
Siobhan in
bulldoze
this
what you guys have
room
been working on,
realize
as I
like
told you
how
last night
much
before things
Crane
got heated.
mentored Siobhan and how tight they are.
All in favor of this act? Yay!
Hang on,
I need to read this again.
Again.
Here's my going to be my last point. Before if anyone wants to talk about this further, we can. I think I want to phrase
No,
this.
I'm
Sorry.
American.
Look, I think that a lot of concerns have been discussed. I think a lot of there's been a lot of back and forth here. I get that there is, we could always repeal this next week, next month, next administration, etc. However, I would also like to point out that the reverse is possible. This is a plan that could be gotten to in steps. I'm not saying that this is what has to happen, but is there a world in which we could play around with the wording a little bit, shall we say?
I can offer a compromise.
If I could finish my thought.
Yeah,
first,
sure.
Yeah. It was to strip down the wording, shall we say, where we do affirm that, let's say, the mayor's office is basically the mouthpiece of the state, the liaison between the state and the PD. If the state is not available,
I'm sorry.
the full extent of their powers
Thank
are
you.
to be determined,
Let me get
discussed
some.
next week. However, a power that they do have is to establish fact-finding missions to determine what the problems of the PD are, and then based on the results of that, that's when we could potentially discuss additional powers, responsibilities, etc.
I want to say something. We had a previous piece of legislation, which was the thing about time, right? The minutes. And one of the things that a lot of us did was abstain because we were uncertain about our capacity to make such a decision. It sounds like some of the contextualization from what Malton is saying and others have expressed is that they are concerned about the exact definition of the state and how the authority rests and how this would effectively
Lieutenant
pan
Custard
out.
told me in person
So,
live at TwitchCon
might
that
I
my accent was
suggest
very
that
good because it's
instead
very
of
consistent.
voting this into legislation to be published tomorrow, why don't we instead vote to send this to the state? So what I mean by that is, instead of voting yay or nay on publishing this, why don't we vote yay or nay on sending this to Max's bosses, my bosses, all of our bosses, and getting their input? And if they approve, then you have your tacit approval, not only that they feel that there is enough restraint and checks and balances here to satisfy their interest, but also that they are actively involved and paying attention. Would that help to quell things?
Honestly, that would for me, but I would like to hear the mayor's opinion on this, since this is his piece of legislation.
Well, first of all, I'm not the only one who worked on this. Okay.
Correct.
Second of all, if we cannot showcase to the state that we're able to operate
Good
with the
RP, that's
powers
good
that we've been
content.
instilled with, be it the ability to repeal acts that are not effective, or be it the ability to impeach each other if we are found to be corrupt or overreaching, then going to them with this act in hand and attempting to get their approval for it kind of defeats the whole purpose of this council.
I
It's
don't
not
see
a
it
bad
that way.
point. It's not a bad point.
But you're making progress. You're pushing legislation.
Well,
Things
and
are
I'll put it
moving
this
along,
way.
right?
Effectively, I'm gonna be honest with you. It's the same thing either way because if
No,
we pass
I
something,
don't even have any degrees IRL.
well,
I'm self-taught.
actually, that's interesting.
There we go. No,
It'll
I'm
look
not
a
a
lot
lawyer.
worse
There you go.
if your boss does not agree with it and says, you know what, it's a terrible idea.
Thanks, guys.
I mean,
Well, I'll get fired.
Hold
though.
on. There is a mechanism. There is a mechanism that exists already, and that mechanism is spelled out in the way that the city council functions. To Max's point, we can both exercise our authority and leave it open for the state to repeal this at any time if they so please. That is not enacting a supermajority. So, for example, if Madam Treasurer and one or two other folks have doubts, they can vote nay, and that will effectively leave the window open for this act to be examined at any time by the state and repealed.
Siobhan is on an LOA while
That
she
is
serves
another
as
way
chief
to
of
do
staff.
to do the oversight.
To expand on this, this is a similar method to how
She didn't lose her
some
bar
PD
license. She still
decisions
has it.
were made in the past.
I'm just on an LOA.
Is it palpable? Let's say to some of us, where again it's a compromise between the two systems. We potentially vote this in, and in the event that it's not a supermajority, the state has 72 hours to veto it. They could obviously veto it at any time, as is their purview. But this doesn't kick in for. I'm just going to throw out a time frame here. 72 hours. That way, like if the state wishes to stop this before it even comes into effect, that's within their purview, and then they could stop it after as well. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a
They're not interfering. We asked for their opinion.
Not a sunset clause. Like we voted legislation to
Evil
come into
100
effect half a week from now, a week from now, and the Fed
Because
still
that's
has
not
their
how it
time to
works in Los
review it and
Santos.
stop it before it even starts if that's what they wish.
The Fed is
And
aware.
Chief Justice is not a business judge in the United States. The Chief Justice
They know
of the
what
Supreme
this
Court
thing says. They know how I feel about
can
it.
force other judges to
They
recuse
are
themselves,
aware.
etc. It's closer to that.
And guess what? No veto.
Well, the bosses I talked to give me a different perspective as well. So it seems like I said, what was proposed by Moulton
Smug face.
to just vote on it and wait till
So
next week till
smug.
we get the answer. I think that's a good compromise as far as what's going on.
When did you speak?
I believe yesterday with them.
Okay, I spoke to them 10 minutes before this meeting.
I will admit I was a part of that conversation, and I can confirm what Max is saying.
So let's take it to a vote.
I got a couple questions about it, if you don't mind.
You are not a council member.
Oh,
Let's take it to a vote.
Hold on, hold on.
No.
I am. Hold on. Let's, guys. Please.
Don't screech no. Okay,
We
you tried
worked
to
so
shush
hard.
Cornwood.
We worked so hard on the tone. We worked so hard on the tone, guys. Look, please, for my sanity. Okay, I am a council member, Max, and I want to make sure that we give everyone the benefit of the doubt so that we do this mutually. Okay, we've already spent enough time on this. Can we please just afford a couple more questions?
Sure. Sorry,
Okay,
Turner. I'm sorry.
Turner, go ahead.
Thank you there. Just to make sure I got the verbiage right, I just want to get clarification on this. Commissioner of the LSPD, and this is in writing on this, Commissioner of the LSPD is empowered to carry out the functions of LSPD at the highest level. The Commissioner of LSPD does not answer to the mayor's office in any capacity after being
Correct.
selected.
That's
The
right.
Commissioner is a well-respected cop and senior plus at minimum.
Mhm.
So he goes over your head.
No, he goes over your head. He's your
equal.
boss.
He would be equal to the council, essentially. He serves the state just like we do. He would be the PD's boss.
Or
Well,
she.
the verbiage is
Or she.
that he
Or she.
does not
Or
answer
she.
does not answer to the mayor's office.
Correct.
That's right.
Just
I
like
just wa-
the
I-
Chief
I-
Justice does not answer to the PD.
I wanted
Right.
to put that in there specifically just so that you guys don't think that I'm installing like a puppet that's
Bro,
working for you.
stop
that
shitting on
person has no
Crane.
obligation to do anything that I tell them to
I
do.
appreciate the bits,
Okay.
but
And
Shut-
guess
I
what?
don't
He
say,
doesn't
like,
even
shut
pick
the
that
fuck up.
person.
Nathan knows
it's
what
in
he's talking
conjunction with
about.
the state. So even if that wasn't in there, it wouldn't necessarily be his exact choice.
That's right.
I am curious. The
I love Nathan.
investigations that the mayor's
Okay, I'm
office
ignoring
would
you, chat,
be,
because you're being rude.
doing on the PD. Who
No, they don't get a seat. I'm ignoring
would
you.
be doing that? Would that be something that you yourself would be doing, or would you be
No,
bringing
that's
in
what I mentioned
others?
earlier. Willie Glory and Lance Malton. Willie was my pick.
And they would be the only
Lance
ones?
was a mutual discussion point. Yes.
I mean, look, My recommendation is I would have liked to see like Jenny Hall in that just for additional coverage, and I believe she is
Sure.
well qualified. But
I would agree with that too.
Of course.
that's but yeah, when I
Wait, are you? Hold on. Sorry, that's inappropriate. Go ahead. I just had a realization. I'll keep it to myself.
Okay. I'll full disclosure for my part on this. Obviously I was given a softball question about all this, and the pitch was Office Space, send in the Bobs as a fact finding mission.
Yep.
The names that I pitched were all former members of PD High Command who each were the administrative de facto heads of their respective departments, who I feel would be qualified for a fact-finding mission. That being said, look, obviously, the wording can be played around a little bit. I see here that some definitions have been changed. So, but before a vote, I would like just two more minutes to read over this. But
take 5. All right,
yeah,
I'm gonna go piss.
I think this is
yes,
good.
please.
I have
I
one
wanna
more
smoke.
question, Mr. Mayor. Can I ask you just one more quick question?
Sure. And look, I'm sorry for shutting you down just now, man. I'm just.
That's all right.
All right.
When we spoke yesterday, you mentioned that this was only going to be enacted for your term.
Yeah, I'm still interested in pursuing that because a big concern of the council is a lot of what ifs about the future and potential abuse. In order to ease their minds, that is something I'm more than willing to do.
Do what? And I didn't hear the question. Sorry, I was talking to Alan.
He was asking if it would be for the duration of my term. I told him that's something I'm interested in doing to assuage the fears of the
If
council.
you think you know better, then go ahead and apply to the server and try to get on and become
Like I
Chief
said,
Justice. I look forward
emergency
to watching your
temporary
paralegal
action is not
career.
like a forever thing.
Right. I just didn't see that in writing on the legislation.
Yeah, I'm gonna throw. I meant to throw in there. I got distracted. It will be at the bottom.
Okay.
I will ensure there is a sunset clause.
Yeah, but before y'all vote, can we just take a
you
look
guys
at
are
it one
reading
more
the scene.
time?
I'm
Just a
shutting
final
up.
copy.
I'm ignoring you.
I will copy paste the final draft into your thing.
Yeah, I believe it's being edited live. That's why I was asking that.
Can you let me on so I can get some chips?
Yeah, I just
it needs to be edited with exactly what
I have to give it to you guys after it gets edited.
All right.
Trust
sounds
me.
good.
Look, I take the city council documents and I personally transfer them to legislation. I publish them accordingly. I spell out exactly at the bottom who was in favor, who was against. The votes are public. The records are very well kept. I assure you that I will ensure everything that was promised and discussed with you goes into the legislation before it is published.
So that's,
you have my word.
Yeah, I don't want to keep discussion going, especially when Max is not here. But is the TLDR what I'm seeing here is the intention behind it, at least a liaison or mouthpiece role between the state and the PD? Is that what this is seeking to be done, Crane? And since you helped write this, it seems.
Lance, you were there. What do you mean it seems? Lance, you were there with all 3 of us working on it.
For information and assessment of the police department between the PD and the state. The mayor, as an agent of the state, is the de facto conduit for that information.
Okay. All right.
The mayor may provide recommendations, input, assessment. The mayor is not the de facto decision maker. He is a cog in a wheel, just like all of us.
Okay.
I need a cigarette. I'll be right back.
Yep.
I need more cigarettes.
You need food? Michael, do you need food?
No, I need cigarettes. Well, I guess that counts as food at this point.
Okay, let me give you some.
Yes, please. That's a hamburger. That's not a cigarette.
It's better for you. You should quit smoking.
What are you saying? Three packs a day is bad for me?
I'm worried about your lungs.
I'm not.
I'm really
fine.
3 packs a day. I'm worried about your lungs.
Nah. They'll be fine. I only had 6 cigarettes throughout this entire conversation.
Wow. All right, I gotta go talk to Crane really fast about
Yeah, you good.
my bar
Hey,
license.
I got a question for y'all.
What's up?
Why do y'all think I have a problem with people thinking I'm doing insane shit? Y'all think
Where did he go? Where did Crane go? If I was Crane, where would I hide? Staff room? Which I don't know where it is. Judges' chambers? It's probably AFK. Where's the elevator again? All the way up. Let's check that. Wow, this is my office. This is what you do? God damn it. I don't know if I can unlock the mayor's office. I don't think so, because Juno couldn't.
Yeah, I mean,
Lance, do you not remember that you were there with us with Crane when we were working on this together?
You pitched a softball idea to me on about how I would.
No,
fix the
no, no, no,
PD.
no. Like when we were all three of us sitting down in the I think it was in the courtroom. You,
Yeah,
me,
I gave it.
Crane,
I gave,
right?
I gave
And
it-
you literally wrote stuff on there.
No, I didn't. I did not write anything on this document.
Molten
I gave-
spitballing, still undecided on this. I have a lot of questions. You had read it, right?
No. I added all that last night. In the mayor's office last night is when I added all this.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I was pretty sure that we had talked about this on Wednesday night. You, me, and Crane.
No, you may be misremembering, but I was not
What
there
did
the first time.
No. You, me, and Crane. What did we do on Wednesday night in the courtroom, sitting down?
That you pitched me a softball of what I think about the PD or how I would go about fixing.
No, it wasn't just no, but what Crane and Max were literally working on this at that time. We were in the room.
I did not know.
I think it was just late at night, and you might not remember.
No, I came in. No, I saw them on the MDT. I came in late at night. I did not know that. Okay, if they were working on this, then I did not know this were. I just assumed.
Oh, you
Crane was
didn't
doing
realize
old man-
that's why they're on the MDT and why we were talking about it?
Well,
Okay.
I assumed you were all just working on your own things and like bullshit.
No, I thought that you were reading it and you understood that it was collaborative.
No, I did not read this shit at all.
I mean, it's been there since then.
Yes, I know. I realize that. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really.
You're fine.
I was looking for Crane, but I guess he's not here.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. Look. I don't know what's gonna happen with my bar license.
We
Like
can talk about
before,
that
when I
later.
talked to Crane about the idea of just being an interim chief of staff for Juno, when she was gonna take some time off. Okay, he had said something about like just cell reps to me, but I don't know if I need to like drop off of the cases I'm on or if I should finish them up, you know. So I need to talk to him.
Yeah, I would
What's your
defer to
take?
Crane
You
then
would
on
defer
that.
to him?
No,
Okay, yeah, it's
I would
judiciary at
defer to
that
him.
point.
I
will.
I think you should try to hand them off, but I don't think someone should be left out to dry if like you have like too much knowledge or no one wants to take it, et cetera, et cetera.
Right, I don't think they should
But
be left to dry either. Like, if I can
Yeah,
find
you-
alternative counsel, great, and if I can't, then I think that I should be okay
I would
to
defer
fin-
to Crane, but
I-
yeah,
but
I think you
y-
should
you
make an
agreed.
attempt to
Yeah.
hand it off.
I agree, but if nobody will take something, right, or if and there's no one in that time
Then
zone or something,
I
right,
would
then
close out your current case.
Alright,
It's-
I'm gonna talk to him. I'll see.
Yeah,
Thank
talk to
you,
him.
thank you, Lance. I just don't want to leave anybody high and dry, you know.
I agree.
Definitely gonna drop one case. I'm gonna drop for sure.
Of course, we're going to want to try to figure out where he's being fed this information, which is horseshit half the time.
That's the way I operate. Whether it's the PD or other officers that I'm close with, I gave them what I got because
You're pissing in
they're
my
low on
office.
cash, and that's just. I know we're not in we're in a little bit of an economic crisis right now. I
sorry.
understand that, but if I
I'll
can
sell.
give a little bit now
Find a
and make
different one to
everybody else
piss at.
happy,
Alright, that's all
then
I
I
ask.
can just kind of help,
The staff
do
room
what
kept
I
just
can to
covered in
keep the
piss,
boat
so I
moving.
think people are just using that now.
and that's just the.
Yeah.
Oh shit!
Oh wait,
now,
Max.
Wait, what? What just happened?
It sounds like a cop got injured.
I'll give it to them in a second.
Is he on duty?
I'll have something for you,
No,
No,
that
it
wasn't
was-
him. It was out in the hallway.
Yeah.
because I'm sure you didn't think about this. Boom.
Ooh, that's my wife.
I heard an alpha. I
And
ran out there,
also,
made sure
here
that
you go,
it wasn't one of
Bib.
the captains or some shit getting
Thanks, Beb.
shot at or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Okay, shit.
It's clear you have you have a lot of care for the PD, and I definitely see that. I can't speak to what a lot of people are saying, but no, I see what you mean.
Who's that? Female?
Excuse me, Corn, if I could
You
give me
find
a
out
while
who it
so I can
is?
Sit down.
Okay, I ain't that big.
Yeah, a little bit, Cornwood, a little bit.
Thank you.
Oh well, thank you. Oh hell, I got us all a bunch of hold on. I got food for everybody.
Oh, I could use food.
Do you have any cigarettes?
Oh no, hell.
God damn it. I can't be the only smoker in this fucking room.
I am.
You're a smoker?
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Where's your
Of
cigarettes?
course.
Start taking it up. Yeah.
I'm not strapped right now.
God.
Oh, yeah.
We're social smokers.
Does anybody else need food? I got about 30 more bags of chips and I got some waters.
I'm all right, thank you.
I'm okay for now. Thank
I'm-
you.
Thank you.
Miss anything?
I'm
when
good,
I
I'm
was
good,
out
I'm good.
smoking?
I was out as
Not
well.
really. We're chatting a little bit, but nothing.
Oh,
crazy.
Crane, can I talk to you about the outstanding cases I have on the docket after this?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Looks like I'm just waiting for Nakota.
Yeah,
What are
I
you
guess
doing right
just that idle chit chat. Crane, was it a requirement that she gave up her bar license for the
Probably.
duration, or was that your decision?
Correct.
Siobhan? Okay, all right, that's fine.
Well, I informed her that she would have limitations.
Yeah.
So much like it would kind of be the inverse of Cornwood over there.
Mm.
Yeah.
If Cornwood is ever reinstated as police officer, he having a bar license cannot defend criminal. He can engage in civil matters not against the PD. So
Mhm.
contracts between two individuals, et cetera, business proposals, blah blah blah. But he should not engage in any conflicting interest sort of things. And I said the opposite to Siobhan, which was you can participate in criminal matters
Mhm.
while being on the council, but you should not participate in civil matters because there are obvious issues there.
Yeah, no civil cases. Yeah, I just want to talk to you about the ones that I have outstanding, what I should do with some of them. Thank you.
now that we're all back, before we vote or anything, I do want to say something, and I mean this. I want to apologize to everybody. My belief is that my personal estimation of my role in this city, as well as this council, as a microcosm thereof, that I assign myself and I take responsibility for, is being a mediator. As someone who held, I would say, probably the most universal information of everyone in this room about this act and the different perspectives, I failed in communicating and being available to assuage the concerns and misinformation that were occurring throughout the last week. So I personally
You
think
loved
that
it,
I failed in
Nathan.
that regard.
You
and I
loved it.
apologize. And I will endeavor in the future to do better.
Same.
I will make a personal request for this. So sorry, Simone, go ahead.
No, I think it kind of ties into it, and I'm not.
Deputy Mayor, can you speak up, please?
Yeah, can you? I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I don't think that is if this is how this happened, but we also need to be careful. I know that we're putting shit up in the MDT, but we also need to realize that when we put it up, it doesn't mean that's the final wording, nor that is the final revision of a mandate or legislation. And that's why we have these meetings, is for talking things through. So sometimes I think if we look at something, we should probably question it, and that's why you can make edits. You can look at it. You can make notes, whatever. Example would be that you guys saw one wording that was then changed later on by Crane and Max. So things do change around. That's again why we have these meetings, is to discuss and make the final changes. Just because it's brought up doesn't mean that it's going to get pushed through the same day. If everyone disagrees, or if you think it has to be reworded or rewritten, that's what we'll do. So we need to be careful not to run with whatever is written. It could be work in progress.
The last thing I'll see is obviously this legislation that was proposed was very contentious. Obviously, I can't mandate this, but I do believe that this is important enough vote that no one should abstain from it. That's just my request from everyone here, is that there's no abstentions on this one, although of course it can't be enforced.
Just to clarify, is there going to be a amendment in here? I thought I heard you say this, Mayor, about the term of this
Yeah,
proposal?
two things that we have agreed on with the officers is that there will be a sunset clause for at least this mayor's term. What was the other one?
Fuck.
I do have a question real quick.
I don't remember.
Let's say this selected
What was the other one?
individual for commissioner is incompetent, doesn't do the job you're looking for, mayor. How do you remove that person? What is there like
Petition
a vote?
the state.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be fine. I promise.
Just like if you think I'm incompetent, you go to my boss.
Understood.
Voting time. Naturally, I presented this. I vote yay. Liaison of the Police Department of Los Santos.
I vote nay.
Head of bar, former police commissioner, Moulton.
Fence sitting
Yay.
Lance. Yay.
Head of medical group, or liaison of the medical group of Los Santos, Philippa Cantor.
I vote nay.
Chief Justice, the Venerable Alan Crane.
I am of the assumption that Madam Treasurer will vote nay, and thus the vote will not reach a supermajority, and thus that will accomplish the state oversight that we have referred to. And thus I am comfortable voting yay because I believe in my bosses and the state to curb and repeal this should anything go awry. So I vote yay.
The Lady Treasurer.
Nay.
Deputy Mayor Michael Simone.
I vote yay.
Chief of Staff Siobhan Thoroughbred.
Yay. Obviously.
The yeas have it.
5-3.
Passes 5-3, which means it's not a supermajority. Thus, everyone can be assured there is state oversight and potential to repeal should the mayor act out of turn.
Good.
Okay, I will go ahead now and I will edit the report into its final form. I will ensure there is a sunset clause at the conclusion of my editing. I will ask that everyone review my notes and edits such that we are all in agreement. This is what we voted for. When we all agree, then I will publish it and I will pass the published version on to the PD.
I don't, you know, I think that's good. I'd also like to say for everyone here, you know, I've obviously I've talked about this with a lot of people, but Max, I will not hesitate to repeal this if this starts to go off the at the first sign of it going off the rails. I will be submitting something to repeal this. But,
Well, seeing as I will be petitioning you to basically head up this investigation, I hope it doesn't go off the rails.
And what investigation you're looking into, so we can have at least a bit of perspective? Is
Everything.
We're gonna do a
The
top
goal,
to bottom
sorry,
assessment.
I don't want to answer for Max, but my perspective that
Office
Max
space
has
top to
discussed
bottom
at length
assessment.
is that this is not a targeted investigation of one thing. This is, as I said, I brought in Miss Wright to help guide me in constructing and orchestrating the city council in our modern form of government. This is simply an investigative panel that will hold interviews with members of the PD should they wish to speak to the panel. And those members of PD can bring up anything they wish. And the panel will then report those concerns, claims, etc. accordingly and their findings thereof, in which I hold the utmost respect and trust in Lance Moulton and Willie Glory to do so with integrity to the mayor. The mayor then will report that information to the state, and then decisions can be made about outcomes based on that information. Is that accurate, Mr. Mayor?
100,000,000%.
I would also like to add, obviously, nothing is set in stone, but it is my belief that while this may be a team of people, I believe that each person operates differently. I would recommend to the mayor's office, whoever is ultimately chosen as the head of this fact-finding mission and whatever team is assembled, that they do not reach their results together. This should be 2 to 4 people who go in as individuals, do their own assessment in whatever way they feel is appropriate, come to whatever conclusion they feel is appropriate, independent of the other people who are going in to investigate. And then that is when the findings come together and are presented.
Yeah.
How could
The
this
mayor's
not
office
be
and you,
Cornwood?
the mayor's office and you will discuss the precise methodology to making all of this happen at a later date.
I'm a big fan of that. I've said this before when it comes to groupthink, but there's a famous experiment called the lion experiment where they get 8 people in a room. 7 of them are
I thought he was
plants
gonna
and
bring
1
up the
is the
Stanford prison
subject.
experiment, but that's
And
a
they
little
put a
too
piece
on
of
the
paper in the
nose.
middle of the table and it has a number of lines on it. 2 of them are relatively close, but pretty obvious if you have a functioning brain. And what we would call a better than lukewarm IQ, which one is the longest line. The purpose of the experiment is that the 7 planted people go first and they all pick the wrong answer. About 70% of the time, the subject of the experiment goes with the crowd, even though he knows it's wrong, because he's embarrassed to say his own thoughts and be wrong. So I'm firmly in agreement with Malton that I think an independent assessment is better.
It was always going to be that way. I informed the captains last night of such as well. Sick. Well, we got the hard part out of the way. Does anyone have any suggestions of legislation they'd like to propose?
Yes, but I need time to edit this first, so everyone else, I defer to you.
Can I just to reassure people that if there's any concerns in general about what we just did, if people do believe that there will be some sort of abuse or seeing that things are heading in the wrong direction, impeachment is still an option.
Cornwood gave a
And that
theatrical
is
end to
something
a
else to
theatrical
also to keep in
character.
mind. So
Yep.
if shit does go
And it's
off the
about the role
rails,
play and
it's
all
not
of that.
Malton's
Imagine
fault.
getting punished
Again,
for that.
impeachment is an option.
Now, my thing is, and I know this is past, I'm just giving my personal opinion. Aren't we just creating another layer, right? Because that commission needs to have oversight as well, right? isn't the same thing that what might happen again with the captains might happen with the commissioner, where there's no oversight?
There's a state oversight, just like me.
But
Right,
weren't
but the
they
state
already
oversight
under the
is-
state oversight?
Exactly. My bosses are the feds, right? That's who
Yeah.
hire me. So isn't it the same thing?
Your concern is that
That's
you
just
were
an
saying that
extra
who's over, who's looking over the person looking over the person looking over the person is what you're saying.
Exactly. That was the reason why we're here today, right?
No, we're here today because this is an investigative panel into
Because-
a series of concerns
Right.
that have been brought.
Because the mayor believes there's no oversight for the captains, right? Who's holding them accountable?
That may be one facet of it. My belief that is not the end all be all purpose of this.
I understand, but I'm discussing what the legislation is supposed to do, right? I'm just trying to kind of, give my thought process on it.
Let me ask you this: Were you
you'll find
intending?
out.
Were you intending on creating or electing a chief or commissioner anyway?
Yeah, so we proposed something to the mayor actually, where we proposed for 5-6 names to the city council, and y'all pick somebody who's a good fit for that.
What? That was only
Okay,
3
that's
names.
the same thing except the state's doing it.
I mean, you sent me a document, and the only names on that list were the 3 captains.
That was that was a document from Captain Rui's perspective. I provided my guidelines as well too.
So okay, all right, almost
So
said something
again-
really mean.
Again, much like the law enforcement liaison, the idea here is that people can throw their hat in the ring, people senior and above, and if the state thinks that that person is fit, the state can select that person.
Absolutely.
Boom. Sick. Well, don't want to keep you guys from patrol.
I mean, I'm here if you have any more questions, anything you want to talk about, more than happy to answer. If not, we can leave. I mean, I'm not a city council member. I came here to just provide perspective.
My panel and I will contact you at a later date.
Okay,
Alright.
Slacks and Turner, I will make the edits we discussed. I've already given you my word on what that will consist of. I will take the final version and put
back
it
to work, bud.
into the high
Oh my
command
God, the
document that
urgency
we've
is
already
so
discussed
strong.
before I publish it into legislation, just so you see that I'm honoring my word. I will text you, Slacks, and let you know that it's been updated for your review.
Appreciate you, Justice.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we'll need somebody to let us out here, please.
Yes, please.
Thank you.
Thank you both.
You're gonna walk. I fucking knew. Do you mind if I don't know? I wonder.
I'm feeling good about that, guys.
Yeah.
I still have my concerns, but these concerns can always be addressed via legislation at a later date.
I do like how everything is pointed at Max, even though it says mayor and deputy mayor. So I'm just gonna enjoy my cigarette.
Yeah, I was gonna say you didn't really speak.
You're not the
much,
one
Michael.
shit talking them, so it's okay.
They deserve to be shit talked. Let's be honest.
I disagree.
Okay, so
There's some. What's that quote about? Something about the emperor's clothes or something. I don't know.
The Emperor's wearing no clothes.
Shoes, I think you mean.
You can criticize people without actively shit
Uh,
talking.
yeah, they don't listen, man. In response to that meeting last night, they're the only cops on duty. They went back to MRPD. They circled their wagons and they tried to do everything they could to not make this happen. Instead of going out on patrol and keeping these streets safe, which is their fucking job. Okay?
Okay.
And God knows how much they're doing this or how little they're actually doing behind scenes, which is the purpose of this investigation.
I don't disagree with you,
No,
Mr.
I
Mayor.
know your take.
I was
I
in
would
that.
just
I was in
suggest
that
that,
room last
uh,
night, and they pretty much spat in Max's face. I'm a be real.
Siobhan, to be frank, I don't trust your opinion on it.
Oh, that's
yeah,
fine.
okay. Why don't you trust her opinion, Cantor?
Because she's extremely heavily biased in your favor.
Yeah, and guess who else was biased in my favor? By design, by the government, by Alan Crane,
Well, the
by
chief of
everyone who.
staff, I'm not arguing against that. That's okay if you put her in there.
So, what do you think the
but when
alternative would have
she
been
is
with
trying
my
to
other
defend
chief
you
of
in a
staff?
situation, I'm not arguing the chief of staff thing. I just said that I don't trust her opinion on how the situation went. That's all.
So, simply because she is my wife, you think that she is biased?
No, I think Cantor's saying that the chief of staff vouching for your perspective is kind of redundant.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So
it's fine that
do you-
she is chief of staff. I'm not arguing. But yes.
Okay, so
I'm just gonna
can-
say
can
this
you-
right
hold
now.
on,
Clean this-
oh,
are you all right?
no,
All right.
hold
All
on,
right, I'll
Chief
be
of Staff,
quiet.
please. Can you read out loud, Miss Philippa, the precise role definition
I
of
know
Chief
what
of
it
Staff?
means.
Pedantic.
Max, I am not arguing about her being chief of staff. I never
She's
once mentioned
reflecting
her being
on
chief
it.
of staff.
I think you
So
guys are
you-
missing the point.
Look, if this
I'm
if
not.
this is a council of 8 that is supposed to be, why didn't you say anything about Juno then?
I'm quite literally saying I have no issue with her position. I just said that I do not trust her opinion on how the situation went, because she is obviously biased.
I mean,
that is different to her vote. That is different to her position. That is a personal thing. I am not saying anything about her position or Juno's position or chief of staff or any of that. You are putting words in my mouth.
that's fine. Anyway, listen, she's entitled to her opinion. That's fine. I know that Crane has always
understand the
trusted me
purpose
to
of the vote.
execute
I
my
get
best
it.
judgment, and that's what counts to me.
Mm-hmm.
So the only 2 witnesses to what happened last night, you think we're lying? You think we're inflating what happened?
The 2 witnesses on your side versus the 3 people on theirs.
Versus the armed thugs that have failed to do their job.
It is insane that we have voted to put you in charge of them when you were saying things like this.
You didn't vote for shit.
No, I voted against you because of this
Yeah,
attitude.
and according to you,
He's not in charge of them.
You guys didn't even read the report.
That is what he has consistently told them,
He
which is
not-
why
okay,
I have no
Max,
faith that he will not use it to do so.
Let's all be really fucking clear for a second. Max is a mayor who doesn't wear shoes, who wears jeans imported from a 14-year-old from Portugal who rides a motorcycle inside City Hall up and down the stairs. Okay? He's
You could do
going to
that.
say absurd, loud shit. It's going to be hyper. The man has a facial tattoo. I
Also,
usually
he could be
reserve.
hyperbolic, but not
No,
Ruth. Is that
no,
what we're saying?
no.
What do you? I have not been hyperbolic once.
Stop.
I'm
Okay,
speaking
that
my
is-
mind.
That is in and of itself hyperbolic and ridiculous.
Okay, what hyperbole have I spoken?
You just said.
Okay, before that.
Max, you have a way of articulating yourself in a way that is simultaneous your opinion and also the most emphatic and illustrative way of expressing that opinion. And in my definition, that is the perfect example of what hyperbole is. You may be core at the truth of what you're saying. There may be truth to it, but you are also, for your own, I would guess, entertainment and whimsy,
He uses
often
hyperbolic
illustrating
comparatives
things
like
in the way that
Destiny.
is most comical and absurd to poke fun at the truth that you believe exists. That to me is hyperbole.
It is more
What's your point?
What's your point?
That you're hyperbolic just as much as they are.
But I want to know what Cantor believes that I said was hyperbole before. But you said you can do hyperbole, but
my
Ruth
joke
can't.
was because Crane stopped himself from saying it. It was not my word, and it was that was where the joke came from. Then.
Okay. Well, it is noted that you just completely do not believe my wife and I in matters of the
That is
utmost
not what I
importance.
said. In this one instance, once again, you were conflating this. In this one instance, I have stated that. I have not brought up any issues with her, the council. I have not brought up any issues in relation to anything else.
Can I say there is a distinct difference, although it may be being lost here due to emotion and heightened tension. There is a distinction between saying that you're not going to take someone's word for something and saying they are lying. Those are 2 wholly distinct things. For example, when I'm in court and I'm identifying testimony and someone comes up and says, yeah, me and the was just hanging out in the sewers walking home, we didn't try to kill those cops, I never saw that car, dog. Quote, unquote, Mr. Frederick Rowland from about a week ago. I'm not sitting there and calling Mr. Frederick Rowland a liar.
No,
but
of course
when
not.
his buddy, who also was running from the cops with him, gives me the same story, it doesn't add or subtract from his claim because there is a natural bias and incentive to reflect the same information. I'm not saying they're lying. I'm just saying it doesn't add or detract anything. My perspective is what Cantor was saying is when Siobhan chimes in and says, I can agree with him, I was there, that inevitably for her, it does not add or subtract to the veracity of your statement. given that you both have a similar interest and bias. Not to say that you're lying, just that it doesn't influence her meter of whether you were telling the truth in the first place.
I get it.
Accurate?
I understand. We're discussing the technical verbiage that she used. I get it. I know that you could argue that she meant it one way. I know, and I feel that she meant it another way. Yeah, look, I get it.
I did not. You
Okay.
can feel however you want, but I will say to you.
Okay, well, I feel that you and the treasurer spoke to each other before this meeting. You came in with an agenda. You probably spoke with Nakota.
I've had a conversation with everyone here other than you and Siobhan because you weren't around yet. I talked with Michael. I talked with Malton. Two of your yes votes, by the way, who both tried to convince me to vote yes, as well as yes, Nakota and Etta.
So why'd you vote no? I'm curious.
To be frank, as there are changes in it, it didn't seem quite as bad. And I'm not as concerned about the fact that it passed as I would have been initially.
Before you continue,
okay.
There were no changes except for that third bullet point from the day that you saw it to today. Okay, let's be clear about that. Okay. Nothing else
so
changed.
That specific change, since that did change, I feel more comfortable with it. I still did not feel comfortable putting someone who is throwing such vitriol at all three of the captains so unnecessarily. I don't think you should have a say in any of it, to be frank. I know it does not put you directly under. I know, it just gives you a part of it, but I do not think you should have a say if that is your opinion.
Well, I don't think you should have a vote if you can't read reports a day before the fucking council meeting.
I can read it. I've read it plenty. That's why
it's been in there for 3 days, Cantor.
Why would I have met with people if I had not read it? Why are you making things up that are just completely blatant?
I'm not making it up. Both you and Etta had no idea what that said. You tried to give me
I read to you what it said 3 days ago. So
why?
I read it at numerous points.
You're speaking
I have read
past
it
each
at
other
numerous
again.
points.
You're speaking past each other again. You're speaking
I've
past
read
each
both.
other. Guys, we have to address the point the other person makes before making a differing point, or else there is literal no point in discourse, because all you're doing is speaking past each other and reiterating the same thing. If one person says red and the other person says blue, and then the other person just says, no, fuck you, red, and the other person says, what? No, I said blue, not red. And the other person says, no, I said red. What do you mean, you incompetent fuck? And the other person says, no, blue, motherfucker. No recourse will ever be reached. So let's focus on maybe getting to purple. How about that?
Okay. I read it a few days ago. I read it last night. I also read it today along with Malton's changes, which we discussed at length.
Those were changes. Those were notes, which is clearly written on the document.
His proposed changes. Sorry.
I mean, I will say that the definition for commissioner was clarified, but that is a very minor thing. I myself had a lot of concerns about this bill as I understood it when I read it. However, through discussing with various parties, I do have a concern about a mayor's office that holds a lot of power over PD. I have significantly less concerns about a mayor's office that is meant to be the liaison between the state and PD.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay, I'm going to edit this thing.
I'm not going to say what I want to say. It was too mean.
Get to yes together, because otherwise we're just going to spin in circles. And tension like this will just carry on to other issues, and it'll make our jobs and lives impossible.
Agreed. I will say, just for my thing, I do not have anything specific to propose this week. I am, however, cooking on something next week for government employees, specifically regarding notebooks. The TLDR is that lawyers really like using their notebooks for privileged information. Do I think that should have carte blanche protection like a phone? No, absolutely not. But I do think I do want to write up something for council consideration. So my request for you all is obviously read the MDT. I'll make it a promise to you all here to get what I want to spitball to this council by Thursday. But I would like you all and your respective factions to chew on the issue of what does a notebook mean to a government employee legally versus a civilian, especially when we talk about potential traditionally protected information such as medical information, legal information, et cetera, et cetera. Like I said, it doesn't need to be discussed now, but I do plan on bringing up something next week, so I would like that to be on your radar.
Okay.
I think that should be a combo discussion with Cantor's healthcare privilege stuff. I think we should probably
Sure,
just
yeah.
define privilege across the different sectors in one document.
Okay, yeah, fuck it, we can go for that.
Because
that's a good idea.
Because we've touched on
That's a good
psych, we've
idea.
talked on doctors, we've touched
Yeah.
on lawyers, we've touched on clergy. We should probably make some kind of unifying legislative piece that discusses and evaluates privilege as a whole.
That's a great idea.
Also, I want to note, Miss Treasurer, that not to be lost on anyone here, part of the I will say benefit in passing this legislation, as confirmed with the state earlier with Max and I, is that the outright restriction on budgetary funds being assigned to PD may now be conditionally lifted on the premise that they follow through on incentives and objectives laid out by the investigative panel and the mayor. So, for example, if the investigative
Poggers!
panel deems that there should be a further rollout of a more fleshed out command structure, or the selection of a commissioner by such and such date, or hiring goals or activity goals or FTO goals or whatever, the things that you have previously brought to me that I brought to the state, such as the Caracaras, the FTO incentives, things like that, those may be used as the proverbial carrot. So there is some progress on that front.
Okay, good.
Dakota, you have anything to present?
No, sir, not today.
Captains didn't slip anything before this meeting?
They did not.
Cantor.
I do. I have the patient privacy. Obviously, if you want to have this be a larger discussion, Crane, we obviously can. But I do have my proposed concept. It's not too in depth, to be honest. I want this to be simple and easy to understand. The main reason that I want it to be legislation is so that both PD, lawyers, and the patients whose information will be given out are all informed here on exactly the process that it goes through, potentially before being posted on the docket. I also made up this little thing at the end about legally recognized families because I just thought it would be funny to give medical backing to those legislations to encourage people to pay the money for them.
I love that.
Yeah, I love that. I got you.
My full disclosure on this is I did not help Cantor write this at all. However, we've brain picked on HIPAA off and on many times over the months, shall we say, and also every once in a while the hospital does consult with me on various legal matters. That being said, I didn't really have a hand in that legislation, but it makes sense for HIPAA. We shouldn't have a direct copy of HIPAA. I think that caused a lot of headaches under old systems. I think what this is an extremely good baseline that could be modified as things come up in the future.
Essentially, I wanted it to only cover an issue that we actually have here, instead of trying to make up other stuff that maybe isn't as much of an issue. So that's about it there. That, and I just wanted to help encourage people to pay for adoptive family and marriage so that we can get more money in the state account.
Yeah,
I think that's
people
hilarious.
also need to be more mindful of who they list as their emergency contacts too.
That too. I think that
You
this
won't get lists
no,
of,
it
like,
gives meaning
25
to it.
people.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's an actual purpose behind them instead
Uh-huh.
of just call this fucking giant list of people for me.
I guess I will say, yeah, I think that's more hospital policy, but in relation to, let's say, this legislation,
Have you guys
would
seen Nakota bring anything?
I guess, or the board.
I don't
would you
think
be
I've seen
discussing,
Nakota
like,
bring
limiting,
anything.
like a max number of emergency contacts, or what would be like that
We
procedure?
did. That might be a good idea. We have had in the past a maximum of 5. It's kind of an optional maximum.
he's asking.
If people want to contact more than that 5, doctors aren't told not to. But you don't have to contact a fucking laundry list of people. So we could 5 could be good, maybe 5 plus family. So it gives an incentive for that.
I mean, yeah, I think ultimately, it's just more work for you the longer the list is under this legislation.
No, you're
or
not
more,
wrong.
more
Yeah.
chances for someone to get early. So I don't know. I think that's hospital purview.
I think.
But
Do you think
Oh,
five's
that's not my
a
real
decent number?
voice.
I think five is good.
yeah, five sounds like fine to me at least. But I would defer to the hospital as a whole or the board as to what they think is appropriate.
I'm pretty happy with 5. I think I think in regards to this, it could even be less. The issue is that emergency contacts are also people that they want contacted, so it serves 2 purposes. I don't want to limit that too hard. It could be a whole separate list, but then no one wants to come down to the hospital and register a bunch of lists of people.
I mean, in
It's just
theory,
not gonna
you
happen,
could
so.
you could cater this to be the top 5 names on their emergency contact list or the top
Yeah.
3, and
Yeah,
and
I
then
like that.
that way they could still have the list as long as they want. But per this legislation, only the top X number can sign off on that form.
There you go. How about now? I put one of their first 5 emergency contacts and they sign for them.
Yeah, I mean, I think that sounds great, and then it
Perfect.
still gives
There you
the
go.
freedom for
I could
people
even.
or you all to have
I might
more.
even make it 3 because this is pretty big. It should be like you shouldn't have a long list of people that you're willing to have verify your medical information unless you think differently.
Wait, can I ask a question? So this is supposed to be that the emergency contacts can sign even when the individual is incapacitated?
That's
Yes.
Wait,
So
is it
to give y'all,
is it only when they're incapacitated? Sorry,
It says
that's
they're able
what-
to sign or whatever. So I'm just wondering.
yes.
So this is essentially a limited healthcare durable power of attorney. The
Pretty
limited
much.
healthcare
So
DPOA.
to give
Okay, I was just
to
wondering.
give y'all context, yeah, no, you're good. To give y'all context on why I thought this was necessary, our process in the past was if it is a violent crime, just give it to cops immediately. And we did genuinely
You mean
run
Nepo
into
Baby Crane?
situations where a patient was injured, then was out and about, and no one even asked them if the cop could get that information. The cop got it and posted it in the docket, and the patient didn't even know. And that is the kind of
Oh.
situation that I want to.
Oh my god.
Yes.
What?
That is the kind of
That's
situation that I
whack.
want to
Okay.
assure doesn't happen.
Yeah,
because that's a
totally.
little bit
No, 100%.
insane. It's kind of a fringe case. It's not the most common, but I think just people should have some level of control over it. So at least if it's an emergency contact, they
Somebody
pick
they
that
trusted,
person.
right? No, that makes
Yeah,
perfect sense to me, 100%.
exactly.
But I guess just make
Okay.
sure that people are aware of what putting someone on the emergency contact list may entail, right?
Yes,
That would be
that's
it.
why I want this to be, public legislation.
I
so
love that.
people
I
are
literally
aware of
love
how
this.
it, how
I
it
love
works.
this so
Hell yeah,
much.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, no, this is
Thank you.
great.
Can I? Okay,
Yeah,
so I made
what
a
you
couple
got?
edits.
Okay.
Can y'all
Even
look
though
at
I know my opinion doesn't
the
matter
city
because it's
council documents,
biased.
police continuity plan? I'm just gonna walk everyone through this real quick. So I've added a couple of just minor phrasings that I think reflect the conversation we had with the captains and the things that I've mentioned that clarify the, I guess, misinformation or assumptions that were made regarding the act. So first, preserving the initial document on behalf of the state. The capacity on behalf of the state was already written there in the first paragraph, talks about checks and balances. The before in blue, I believe, is a great piece of speech writing by Max, but maybe doesn't convey his exact pure intention. So I've tried to recraft the same intent, but with softer language that I think still reflects the outcome. So you can sort of review for yourself the different language there, but I believe it means the same thing ultimately. There's just some softening language to, avoid ruffled feathers. For example, instead of saying this has potential for great abuse of power, potential has all been snuffed out in every other corner of government. I simply said this is intended to snuff out any potential perceived or otherwise corruption or inefficiencies leading to abdication of the roles and responsibilities of the current chain of command. From there, I've added very minor phrasing such as the law enforcement, so the constituency of the law enforcement departments of Los Santos, to reflect the fact that we're not asking for the captain's input, we're asking for the rank and file. The opportunity to petition the mayor's office as an agent of the state, again, to reflect the supremacy there. And then down below, you'll see some of the same language, and I see that Max has already added the sunset clause.
Okay.
Given how this has been phrased, does anyone have any questions, comments, concerns? Max, anybody else?
No, I think you legally sit real good.
Yeah, I think this is what was voted on, and yeah, like I said, if any major changes, additions, or subtractions need to be added in the future, you know, that could be done when those votes arise.
Max, thoughts on the blue and green paragraphs?
I read it as you're writing. It looks great.
Okay, I want to make sure I'm capturing your intent. I don't want to edit your thoughts.
No,
you
did it great.
Okay, I will then save this copy for posterity, so we have a record of how we debated it. I'm going to copy this text, get rid of the blue text, change the green text to white, remove the after, and then remove everything after the sunset clause. And that will be what I put in the high command report for Slacks. Everybody good on that?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and copy the stuff after the sunset clause into my personal notes report, if you guys want to continue throwing on stuff into there. While this is the purview of the mayor's office, I am, of course, willing to listen to great, unbiased ideas.
Yeah, with that being said, to derail, I mean, Cantor, are you did you make are you calling for a vote on Pippa, or do you want to cook on it?
If anyone has more questions about it, or if you know, free to let me know. Or anything.
What is the final number you decided on with the emergency contacts? Are you still sitting at 5?
Yeah. Hey, here's my thing. I'm not a pussy. I don't go into the ICU. I'm strong. So I don't really know what people want. I don't know like what people would be happy with.
I mean, could you leave it vague that you know, up to an amount determined by the board? I don't know what I'm saying. Like
no, I can set a number. I think maybe 5 is reasonable. But then, you think 5 is reasonable?
I
Okay,
can't
great.
imagine somebody really needing more. I agree.
I mean,
People that have laundry lists, their primary point of contact can reach out to the rest of them. So.
Worst comes to worst, you call a vote next week to just change the number if you really need to.
Honestly,
right?
yeah, that's true. We can absolutely change that if it's too overbearing. Okay, right. I think it's a good start. All right.
So are you calling for a vote then?
Yeah, I know the medical specifics. Y'all probably don't know too much, so but yeah, if anyone has
actually, sorry, I have one more question. Is it possible for them to indicate the relationship of the emergency contact? That way, if it was like a boyfriend or a girlfriend and it's all outdated information, you know, you're not calling up an ex-boyfriend or girlfriend or something. You know what I mean? So maybe have
that has happened,
right?
before.
So maybe
Yes,
let's indicate
people can come in
relationship.
and update it at any time. Yes, we could definitely so it's usually essentially we just put what information they give us. If they want to say like say for example, if I put Frazier, who's my husband, not legally under the state currently, but will be soon when we can afford it. If I were to put that, like I would probably put in brackets that he's my husband. Some people just don't give us that information, but we would be happy to take it if they do.
Yeah.
And use that accordingly.
Yeah, like Murphy got shot on the head and we were already divorced and they called me because his emergency contact list was outdated.
Yeah. People do not update theirs a lot. At least if this passes, people might be you know, generally aware that they should. Yeah. Okay. Well, if no one has any more questions, yeah, we can go for a vote.
Aye.
For me, obviously.
Aye.
Any nays?
Yeah, that's probably easier on this one.
Yeah.
It passes unanimously. Good work.
Me.
Okay. I'm going to tag that as approved. I will enact it accordingly.
Okay.
I have delivered the updated version to the PD High Command documents. Slacks is in receipt and is reviewing.
Okay.
Crane, do you have anything in particular you'd like to propose today?
Okay, I have some updates, not necessarily proposals. I figured we could spitball some things. So to start off, I have talked to the operators of the Grime trucks. The result is that the way that the system is set up now, the Pounder and the Packer trucks, which are the like level 2 and 3 trucks, the larger commercial vehicles, they currently are set up to allow PD to inspect the cargo and inspect the contract assigned that the person is working on. Those contracts only display the current contract, right? So if the current contract is, let's say, 600 kilos and the truck has a capacity of 1,000, if they're at 700, then they're exceeding the current contract, but not the capacity of the truck. So the idea was potentially they could do more than one contract. However, after speaking to different folks, both in PD with their results and folks that run Grime, I have found out that most all of the contracts on those larger vehicles are at or very near the limit for the truck itself. This is, as I understand it, working as intended. So although the Grime drivers may be unhappy with this, the apparent intent of the people who operate those vehicles and allow the drivers to utilize them is that they should only be doing one contract at a time. If they do more than one contract at a time and overload the truck, which is in and of itself inevitable by doing more than one contract, they will be in violation. So I am bringing that forward to note to everyone that that should color how we determine what punishment is appropriate for people who go over that weight system, understanding that it literally means that they will need to complete round trips to and from the city to, say, Sandy or Grapeseed or Polito to avoid not being in compliance. So that is one, food for thought. Second item was gun licenses. I have intended to roll them out today. However, I am still working with the folks who regulate the ammunition state-run businesses to ensure that a purchase of a gun can only be made once per week. In addition, there are some further revisions being made to which firearms will be available at ammunition, and I am awaiting confirmation of those developments. So I actually, as I understand it, the purchase of guns from ammunition is currently not permitted. So I will be working with them to understand when those items have been resolved and when gun licenses will roll out. So there have been some concerns raised to me, several items, one of which was, I guess, sort of my own realization that although the guns themselves are stamped with, let's say, issuer IDs, the magazines and the ammo are clearly not. And as such, someone with a gun license could very clearly
You did it, and then you found me when you learned how to
disseminate
spell it.
magazines and ammo to people who hold illicit guns, assuming they are of the same make and model. So, for example, if you steal a PD Glock or you have one of these tampered Glocks that has no serial, and then a civilian has the capacity to then go to ammunition and
Most
buy
crimes
the
are crimes of
equivalent ammo
opportunity.
and magazine,
first
there
thing
is
kids need to
effectively
know.
a conduit by which unlimited magazines and ammunition would be proliferated with no real way of tracking or consequence. So as a result, we are looking at solidifying the type of firearm that can be purchased from ammunition such that we are not coinciding with the same guns that PD use, which will also be helpful on scenes for them to clarify, civilian versus PD firearms.
I was going to literally ask that. Yeah, perfect. Good.
So that's all being worked on. Gun licenses will be slightly delayed.
Can't put the judge hat off.
And by that, I mean delayed by a matter of days, not weeks. So there may be something in the middle of the week where the DOJ starts rolling out gun licenses. I'm just making you all aware that that is what's going on.
In the spirit of spitballing, this is in regards to the commercial trucks. I believe in the past we called them commerce checkpoints, but I do believe that the PD should be empowered to set up weigh stations, let's say in designated areas, and obviously that's all up to debate, but like highways, the entrances say blah 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 blah. But I in the past, the legal argument was, well, you have to have a reason to stop someone to detain them.
My presentation to the council is that I believe the very act of driving a commercial vehicle on our roadways, public as they are, funded by the state as they are, should allow spot checks of those vehicles. A PD officer should be able to observe an 18-wheeler rolling down the road, pull them over. Hey, how you doing? Just making sure you're licensed, to be operating this vehicle, which the person can provide the contract information by inspecting, the truck, as well as the cargo, and that will allow for a spot check, which avoids the need for independent RS.
Yeah, that's what I mean. The only thing I would say for consideration is, do we want that just happening anywhere in the city willy nilly, or only in certain circumstances? But I'm fine with obviously the RS concern. They could just pull them over.
In a perfect world,
anytime,
I would
but-
like it to be highway interdiction because I think
Yeah.
that's where the most concern is. However,
Yes.
I don't know if I want to restrict the PD in when they can do the spot checks, because to be honest with you, I can already guess that Matt Rhodes would like to set up a personal spot checking station at the entrance to the Russian docks.
Fair.
I apologize if I missed that in this discussion. Is there a specific penal charge for their trucks being
No.
overweight?
And that's
It is
why I was
not.
gonna.
Well, this is what
ask.
we're discussing right now.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, I'm giving you the context that you are overweight if you do more than one grime load. How does that color y'all's interpretation of how stiff the penalty should be?
Why not increase their weight limit?
I have discussed that with the manufacturers, and I was informed that that is working as intended.
Nakota, what do you feel the punishment should be for trucking overweight like that?
I mean, off the top of my head, a charge would be like misuse of a commercial vehicle, obviously. I think the articulation for having too much weight in your vehicle is that it's basically like a battering ram. I mean, they already are. The speed limits was hopefully try to curb people driving too fast. I'll be honest, we still give out plenty of speeding tickets. But I don't know if anyone here has had any similar experience of getting smashed at high speeds by
I have
those 18.
I
Okay,
have.
so there you go. Okay, fair enough. So overweight 18-wheeler, overweight even some of the bigger vans. I mean, it is a vehicle can be considered a deadly weapon if you're packing it to the brim overweight. That is pretty negligent, if I'm going to be honest.
For context, okay, I've spoken to quite a few people on the street who work for the grime delivery.
Okay.
They make a lot of fucking money. They make a lot of money.
Okay.
So I think a somewhat large but not like unreasonable fine for driving dangerously like that is not entirely unwarranted.
I would agree. The thing that I would request, this is mainly for the lawyer side of things, is I don't think it should be a felony. I don't think driving an overweight truck should preclude you from a business or
Absolutely not.
gun
Absolutely.
license.
No. Sorry. Yeah, no, I wasn't saying that should be a felony. I'm just,
No,
I'm
I'm
thinking out loud on that part.
I don't think it should be an arrestable offense.
Oh, sure.
I
Just a
think it should
fine.
be a
It's a moving
citation with that.
infraction.
Now,
Correct.
Yeah.
I got a real crackpot question.
Oh,
here
I did
towards-
have another thing. Fuck.
Oh.
Sorry. I got another thing for legislation. Keep going, Malton. I just
Okay.
remember.
A real
I
crackpot
wanna know what it
spitball
was.
I want to throw out here is if you are overweight driving, is that overweight proceeds of a crime that are going to be seized?
No.
No. Okay.
No, I think we do. Here's my suggestion. How about this? How about we make it roughly equivalent to first degree speeding, because we all agree that it's dangerous and needs to be curbed. We set that at $1,000.
I think it is $1,000.
So we make it $1,000 fine
is it?
for driving an overweight vehicle.
Sorry.
And we'll
Fixing.
commercial vehicles are
Fixed.
and how much care you should use when operating.
Fixed.
What about like 4 points?
4 points. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, I'm just
Saved.
spitballing.
Saved.
Yeah, 4 points. My wife and I live in on Route 68.
Oh.
So we see a lot of these trucks driving by and stuff. Most of them are well-meaning people. I've spoken to a lot of them. They're going to need time to adjust, and it would be unfortunate for them to lose their driver's license that quickly, right?
Wait, where do you live off 68?
Behind the convenience store.
You know what the address is?
Ooh.
Oh,
yes.
shit.
Yeah. Hold on. It is
It's a trailer.
A Harmony.
No. I know, but which one?
It's like Harmony Route 68, 58 or some shit, something like that.
Do you live in the murder trailer?
Yeah.
What? Huh?
Yeah.
Because there was a trailer
Oh,
out
the
there.
one right by the used car lot across from Harmony Repairs.
No.
There's a couple of them. So there was that one, and there was another murder trailer where there was like people had mocked up like a cell inside, and people were like held in there, like human trafficked and shit.
Oh.
Anyway, I'm sure they cleaned it fine. I'm sure.
Yeah, I don't believe in ghosts. That's all I'm
Bleach
saying.
solves
That's why the
everything.
water.
I had it
Okay, so-
renovated. It's nice. Okay, it's not
Yeah, it should be
murdery.
fine. I'm sure it's okay. So to my actual legislative point, here is something I want to propose to the council. I didn't write it up because it only came to me the other day,
thank
and I was
you.
getting feedback from Miss there she is,
Whoops.
Miss Mushkin Domino.
Never told
here
you
to my
guys
back
about
right.
that.
I would like to propose the following. Currently, driver's licenses are not actually removed. They are only suspended. The reason being is that we used to have driving school, which Tessa Lamb ran. And so when someone lost their license, they would go to driving school, get a certificate that said, I passed driving school. And then they would get their license reinstated by going to a judge or a clerk and providing the certificate. I propose the following. When people reach 20 points now, the PD or whoever causes them to go over 20 points should revoke their license. And in order to reinstate their license, even if the points have fallen off, I believe they should go to a clerk, and the clerks should operate a quasi DMV.
Ooh.
I think this will allow more engagement for the clerks. This will allow more meaning to having your license revoked. And it will provide more of, should I say, like interactions at City Hall with people who might not otherwise come by.
So sorry, just so I understand, the license would be revoked within the
Correct.
MDT, but the clerks could obviously reissue that because they're
correct, and there would be a minor fee for reinstatement, something light, $500, something like that. But the purpose would be to allow the clerks to have roles and responsibility that would expand their purview.
I like that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That used
I
to
just
be
have a couple
something judges could
questions. So
do.
is it,
That we would
pretty much
reinstate your
guaranteed now we're
driver's
not
license
doing
and
the
clear your
commercial
points once you
licenses?
had
They're
it.
just going to go on to the existing
The way
drivers?
that it should
Once
work
you
is
had
I think we
completed a
just
driver's
create
test program
penalties
with
that
Tessa.
offer heavy point restrictions.
Okay.
The way I understand it, in order to even operate a grime truck, you have to
I'm gonna bring this up.
purchase the right to operate the truck from the contractor.
Okay.
So you pay, I think it's like 25 grand or something to buy the truck. So I think that covers that side of it. And we'll simply have the points reflect the severity of the action, aka the 4 points Max described.
Okay. The other things I was just going to say is, what if a vehicle's like caught off-roading, not even on the road? Say they're driving, through the Los Santos freeway, like dirt path that wraps around behind the.
So you want to create like negligent operation of a commercial vehicle?
Yeah,
with
like
a
if they-
stiffer penalty than negligent driving.
Right. If they start figuring out that if they're overweight on the road, they can be pulled over and cited, and then they try to start obfuscating by going off road to
Not a bad
avoid
point.
potential being seen.
I don't have a problem with that.
Okay. And then my last thing, and I will be done. I apologize. If we catch someone, if it is identified that somebody's vehicle is overweight, that vehicle is then subject to being searched and having the outstanding weight removed, or
no? The fine and the points are the deterrent and the punishment.
Got it.
The fine.
I don't want to get involved with rank and file cops seizing fucking boxes of goods out of trucks.
I don't necessarily have an issue with that. I just wanted to say it out loud.
Cornwood, you raised your hand.
Yeah, I was going to ask, what's that charge going to be called for? Is it overweight driving?
It would be probably unsafe operation of a commercial vehicle, and then the other one would be
Overweight
negligent
driving.
operation of a commercial vehicle.
Cornwood, you're fine.
Because the unsafe would mean you knew it because it's in legislation that you can only go to a certain weight and based on your contract. And then the negligent would be maybe it's not spelled out somewhere, but I'll know it when I see it for the cops. Which also allows the cops to argue that in court. So if somebody wants to try to come in and say they're a good old boy who can drive an 18-wheeler off-road, then they can come and try to argue that.
Okay. Yeah, I was asking because I didn't want to hear the same damn joke every time I pulled someone over. So, thank God it's not overweight driving.
Understood. Yeah, 10-4, buddy.
Is
Yeah,
this
they mean the
Crane? Is this
vehicle,
not
you.
dissimilar from how we used to do suspended driver's license and reissuing them with like a past
Correct.
driver's test? Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
It's
Correct.
just
It's just
taking
DMV.
I love that.
it's
No, I love that.
taking Patrick Desalt's job and giving it to the
Correct.
clerks.
Right, no, and
Yeah.
that's great. I think the clerks, I think we trust the clerks to give out licenses, don't we? So I feel like
Correct.
that should absolutely be within their purview. I love this idea.
Okay, so there effectively will be 3 things that I will be working on implementing if there are no nays. That is, number 1, the quote-unquote unsafe operation of a commercial vehicle, which will be described as the weight limit infraction. Again, this is not a criminal punishment. This is an infraction. It'll be 4 points on their license, meaning they can do it 5 times and have their license revoked. And it'll be $1,000 fine, which is similar to the speeding first degree. The second one charge will be negligent operation of a commercial vehicle. This will be simply negligent driving, which I'll literally just copy paste the definition of, but insert the words commercial vehicle. Same thing will be $1,000 fine, and we'll call it, I think, probably 2 points for that because it's a little different than the overweight. And then I will institute the legislation surrounding the creation of the DMV powers being assigned to the clerks, which states that police officers are now enabled to revoke a license when the person reaches 20 points. And the reinstatement of that license must occur through a clerk at City Hall for a fee of $500. Anybody need any of that?
Nope.
No,
Those
sounds
are all
good.
great ideas.
Okay, I will implement accordingly. That was my stuff. Thank you. And then gun licenses and all that, I will keep you guys updated, but again, TBD based on communications with ammunition.
Look, I'm going to be straight up after that the Mr. K case yesterday. I think it's probably good that we keep guns off the street for just a little bit longer.
Mm.
Yeah, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was chaos.
Nagura, yeah.
Can I just get 60 seconds?
Yeah, please.
Well, no. I mean, to be silent and really think about something. So I just want to make sure no one needs to. Okay.
Well, I'm going to ask Etta if she has anything to propose.
Thanks, Audrey.
Okay, perfect.
Lady Treasurer, do you have anything to propose to the council meeting today?
Sorry, say it. So one more second. Say, Alex. Yes, you and I will go over yep. Okay, I'm going to work on those, so give me a second to institute those things.
Etta?
I said
Oh,
no.
she
not currently.
yeah, she already answered.
Nothing currently. I'm curious.
That's not true. She does. She has brought stuff to me, but I sort of, as I reflected on earlier, we're working it into the PD oversight initiative. So, Ed has collected requests from a number of PD sources, EMS, regarding the breakdown and overall wear and tear on vehicles. And I don't mean just like normal wear and tear. I mean the overall health of the vehicle over time. I'm not much of a gearhead, but I guess there's some degradation that occurs to where the vehicle can become almost like permanently less efficient or something. I don't know.
The engine has to be replaced, and it has to be replaced through damage and use.
Sure. So she was effectively advocating for the fact that it is hard to distinguish between normal wear and tear and operation of an engine from the PD and negligent operation, and the incentive should be that if the PD is working with us in good faith to improve themselves, we should add the proverbial carrot of maybe helping them with things like that, the overall degradation, and then incentive bonuses such as the Karakara and scout vehicles and things like that.
Are these things
that'll be coming in the future?
Are these things that the Nakota came to you with, Etta, at some point?
We have discussed them together. Yes.
Do you? Are these requests written down anywhere for us to read right now?
She has
I
them
have
in the notes.
My notes
yeah.
for treasurer. That
Okay.
has been there. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a little peek. I would love to.
And to be fair, I want to say something. I have been the person naysaying her from bringing these things specifically because
we can't
I
do
was
it.
informed
We
prior
can't
that
do
we
it.
couldn't. Correct.
Yeah.
But now that we
can't do it.
have the authorization, as you're aware, Max, from earlier conversation, I think this will allow for some progress.
So that it's like a new system. Okay. I am not aware of the particulars of the system. That said, it's essentially going to allow us to autonomously maintain the flow of commerce and budgeteering for every aspect of government, and receiving that power instead of just having flat paycheck wages like issued by the state. It will allow us to incentivize certain activities or things, or like to do whatever we need to do to actually 100% wholesale get funding for government jobs. So until this system is fully in place, it's probably not going to be for a couple of weeks. We can't actually have a serious discussion on providing funding for the police department, or for example, like something can actually climb a mountain for the medical group. That said, we're working on it. And right now we can't. Unfortunately, I would love for the EMS to have a fucking helicopter, for example. But you guys know we can't pull the money out. So yeah, in like 2, 3, maybe 4 weeks, depending on how long it takes, there's going to be a framework that the mayor's office can make use of, or it might just be the whole. I think it's just the mayor's office. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Justice.
I believe the trigger lies with the mayor's office.
It's at will employment.
But my
Listen,
opinion
I'm
is that
ignoring
there
you
should
guys.
be obviously like discussions surrounding it.
Of course. Yeah. So I mean, always for the police department, the LSPD is in dire straits, and certainly money would be good for them to receive. Have you guys, Dakota, have you guys floated the idea of doing like I know that Cantor suggested like a car wash or something for EMS to raise money for potentially purchasing a helicopter? Are you guys working internally on any way of like raising money to purchase the tools that you need to be able to, I don't know, country patrol or whatever, like whatever you guys are missing right now?
I mean, the vehicles that we have are being test driven. As far as purchasing them, that'll be like, I think a lot of officers' main goals is to purchase them themselves personally. I would say the biggest issues are, and I've spoken to the treasurer about this, is like internal issues with the vehicles, not necessarily like purchasing said vehicles.
Okay, so everyone's more concerned with just getting their own car.
People are concerned getting their own car, but in the immediate, while that is not like feasible for some people based on money, some of our our shared vehicles are like the engines are basically dying in them.
Ooh.
Already? That's so crazy.
Yeah.
Well,
man, cars are rough
good.
around
Dex,
here.
what I said.
Yeah, when you
Dex
crash,
did
man,
do
it
what I
fucks
said.
that
He
engine
brought
up.
this to
God
Edda.
damn,
Or you pit.
Good.
Yeah, or you
Good
pit.
Yeah,
job,
it's
Yeah.
true.
Dex, on bringing
Yeah.
this to
Yeah,
Edda.
it's a bit-
And repair kits as well. So the
Oh,
repair
really?
kits are
Okay.
taxing on the degradation, and so obviously if there's no mechanics or they have no parts to be able to repair the cars, then they're forced to use the toolkits, which force the engine to degrade more. And it's gotten to a point where they already need to be replaced less than a month after they were previously.
God
repaired.
damn.
So same with the ambulances.
What's
They're
wrong with the
getting to
air
that
in this
point,
city,
too.
man? Cars last for years everywhere else. What are we doing?
Humane
People gotta
Labs.
stop going to Sandy and all that. It's the sandstorms or something. Yeah, Humane Labs, maybe.
It's freaking Humane Labs, man. They're
Yeah,
fucking poisoning
maybe.
the water.
God
They're
damn.
crashing their cars.
People crashing their cars, Lance.
Okay. So
think
nothing
it's
to
the
propose from the
pollution.
lady treasurer. Michael Simone, the big man.
I don't have anything this time around. I think the only thing is the VDM Act.
Oh, is that finalized?
I
be.
have the urge to mock as well.
Sick.
It comes off as
Yeah,
mockery, but it's not
simplified
supposed to be
it, so it should
mocking. I just want to parrot. I'm a
basically
parrot.
without all the fluff. And again, if we want to go down the path, it can always be extended to not just be work vehicles and include every vehicle on the street.
What was the VDM one again? Sorry, just refresh my memory.
It's just the one that they have.
098.
Yeah, they just have to make sure it's. They're
Oh,
taking
yes,
care of the
okay,
vehicles
yep,
internals.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. All right. We approved this. We were just getting the final wording. Yeah, okay, I see.
Yeah,
Right.
we like changed how
Gotcha.
it worked a bit.
Gotcha.
I have one thing that all this vehicle discussion got me thinking about, but I can just wait if we're still talking about anything in particular.
Yeah, this seems to fit what we landed on, so no arguments here.
Language real quick.
Sure.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Chief of Staff, do you have anything to propose?
Not at
Suggest?
this time. Suggest?
Yeah, suggest,
Several
yeah.
citizens brought forward to me that they wanted an amendment to the Drip Act to ban Crocs because they're
Oh.
unhygienic and unsafe.
Ban them.
Yeah, we recommend them around the hospital. Actually, they're quite good for things like that.
This
'cause
was
they're
for
non-slip.
for the hospital for sure, but for it
Mhm.
was for grime in Group 6 in
Oh,
particular that
okay.
they were saying
Yeah,
ban
you
Crocs.
know what? I
It's
might
not
agree with that.
right. It's just not
Yeah,
safe for
yeah.
carrying things. You could drop it on your feet. That's a loss. That could be a lawsuit.
Oh.
Not sure. Right? I'm just saying, throwing it out there.
Mhm.
Yeah, they wanted
I
to ban
will,
Crocs for grime in Group 6.
My initial response is, we probably don't need to ban them, but I think it would be funny to encourage the cops to start finding people for them and establish that.
Right?
I
Right? I agree.
Yeah.
Look, obviously,
Get the money.
I was against the Drip Act. I still am in some regard, but in the spirit of it, I will say maybe Crocs could be helping build the RS or PC for fashion court,
Right.
and not outright banned.
Okay, all right, that's absolutely fine, but maybe list them specifically then as you know, an unsafe shoe attire, or whatever the word you want to use for it
It
is.
definitely so the way we did it, we left it slightly ambiguous so that these things could be argued in court.
Oh yeah, no,
But that is
no, that's fine.
absolutely one of those things that I think would be hilarious for
Maybe-
cops to
right?
push and that to handle in court.
Even just
I
as an
think it's funny
example,
as
Crocs.
hell.
I want to see somebody in fashion court for wearing Crocs.
I would
so
love
bad.
to see you in fashion court when you're back to doing lawyer stuff. That'd be hilarious.
Oh man, yeah, that'll be hilarious.
Yeah, I thought about
those were the
reporting you
days.
several times.
I know. That's why I ran away
okay,
from you.
okay. Well, I was gonna
That's
say
why
her
I
defending
ran.
someone.
Well,
but,
look,
ran away.
ma'am, when I'm the Chief Justice and I can tell you what color your underwear is, you might be drip violation.
Literally, I was not.
You checking my wife out, dog?
Incorrect. Your wife presented her underwear in a manner that
Whoa.
anyone with eyeballs
oh
could
wow!
see.
oh my god!
Look, okay, he's an older guy. You know, I get it. Maybe
An observation.
knee-length skirts, Pep.
Are
Hell,
you
even
fingertip
thigh.
testing me? What is this, Catholic school?
Yeah, we're back in Catholic school right now.
Are we
This
back
is
in
not.
Catholic school?
No. That didn't. What you're wearing did not qualify as a skirt.
No, Crane,
no.
Crane, I was literally at the VU right then. I was not planning on being
I
running
know,
by
which
City
is
Hall.
why I didn't say shit about it.
Thank you. Listen, I understand that it was inappropriate and I should not have been dressed in that manner, but I appreciate that. I also ran away from you because I knew what could come my way.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe your words were sorry for putting that in your face.
That's what my words were.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
Whoa!
All right. Let's move on.
Okay, unsafe operation of a wide load. Commercial
Wow.
delivery. Hey, innuendo, right? Commercial delivery vehicles operate under grime contact, and other delivery firms must abide by the contractually obligated weight limits set for both the individual deliveries and the truck itself. Police are empowered by way of this charge to spot check any commercial delivery vehicle with proper driver's license, contract weight, and overall trailer weight. Violation of the contract and/or trailer weight will result in an issuance of this infraction. No independent reasonable suspicion is required to spot check a commercial delivery vehicle by PD. 0 time, 1,000, fine, 4 points.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'm now going to
Perfect.
copy paste the negligent one, and then I'll create the DMV.
You raise your hand. I see that.
no! Oh no, we're having that problem again.
What?
Oh,
Shit.
Are you hearing yourself talk? I think I heard myself talk just now.
No, it's not that.
It's MD2.
Quick,
I
save it on a
can't-
Word document, Crane. Quick.
Yeah, I know.
Wait, are you unable to open it or?
No, there's a thing that's happening lately where when you save a charge or you edit charges for incidences for criminals, it says blah 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 must reach certain constraints, and it's not functioning properly.
Oh. Cringe. I have a couple of things that were brought to me. I've been doing late night town halls. Some suggestions from the people of Los Santos. Some of these are things that I will suggest directly to the Fed. They're in my notes document if you guys want to take a peek at or guess at what any of those might be. The most interesting one and the one that makes the most sense to me was wait, hold on.
What's that report number? Just so I could pull it up, Mayor.
1933.
Thank you.
Yeah, be aware that literally sometimes I'm just writing the words that people are saying out loud as they're
Yeah,
saying
it's like
them.
taking a statement.
Yeah. So I'm just I'm trying to essentially convert their request into something that's an actual realistic request. First and foremost, and something that I meant to propose even in the first council meeting was
Oh, the red lights.
making Los Santos a stop and go state. Green equals go, red light equals stop. Siobhan, you were there.
Red
okay?
lights are stop signs, green is go. So it's red lights would be treated as a four-way intersection as a stop sign. Kind of like when the lights are out, you're supposed to treat it as a stop sign, right? Except green is
Like
still
most
go.
people do already.
Yeah, like most people do already, right?
Right.
Exactly. But you were still
Yeah,
required to come
Yeah.
to a full and complete stop to check it out on a red. No California rule, no cop, no stop shit, right? You're still required to stop. But then you
And
may
they-
proceed.
Okay.
A doctor suggested this to me because he said that the majority of people he treats are vehicle accident victims.
Yes, that is very true.
And he framed this in a very clever way to me. He said raising the speed limit has actually inspired people to actually drive the speed limit, which creates a general expectation of like how fast, generally speaking, and obviously some people speed above that, but the general expectation is that if you see a car moving through Legion Square, it's probably going about 65, 70.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, well, this is a great idea. What do you guys think about a stop and go state?
I like it in theory, but also this negates a lot of ability for officers to do their job and also collect fines for the save
that was-
count and everything. There's a lot of things.
So that was my immediate reaction, but then I thought about it for another second. If they blow the red light, they blow the red light,
Mhm.
right? They're not
I
stopping
guess so. Yeah,
regardless.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing I would say is someone stops at a red light, they think they have the right of way and they go, but someone has the green and then they crash. They've technically done their due diligence as far as stopping at the red. The other person's abiding by their own stop signal, and then there's an accident. What would
Yeah,
I mean,
fine by me. Yeah.
I mean, I would say that's negligent driving. Then they didn't make sure the intersection
Yeah.
was clear. Like they
Okay.
went when they weren't supposed to.
Okay. I mean, again,
okay.
I'm just proposing that, and I am happy to hear feedback because I personally, off the rip, I have no issue with that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, I
So-
don't have an issue with it.
Yeah, I like it.
So we can't make new documents in the MDT right now?
You can make documents. I can't make charges.
Oh shit. Okay.
Whatever
So-
you're doing, put it in. We can do the normal process. Just I
Yeah.
can't make charges.
So later tonight, I'm going to fully write up what this would look like. Just fucking stop calling me, Jesus Christ. And it's essentially going to read, hey, four-way intersections are four-way stops now.
Yeah.
Congratulations. I don't even think the wording of the charge, failure to obey traffic control devices, needs to be changed, because it says does not obey a sign or signal defined as regulatory. So if we just make an announcement via legislation that we're stop and go state now, then the charge can remain the same essentially.
Yeah, like
Correct.
Nakota explained, they'd still be violating it if they go straight through it, so it doesn't change.
Same on failure to
anything.
stop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was
okay.
gonna
Literally
say,
neither has to
Siobhan.
change. Yeah.
Because 99
yeah, which one
actually
would you do? I guess.
failure to stop is what I usually
to
give
stop,
somebody
yeah.
if they go through it,
Mhm.
because it specifically references the red
Okay.
light.
hmm
Yeah, there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, that's gonna be on my.
I want to be like
To-do
same
lists.
wavelength, Nakota. Look,
Hey, there's
we have the
actual
same
treason
ideas. Oh.
Yeah,
I saw that.
Slack sent me
What?
the fucking Oh my god,
Hey,
Vivek.
really?
Yeah, Vivek.
Vivek
Oh
twatted.
no.
I am no longer under the jurisdiction of Los Santos. I'm starting something new. Who's interested?
Oh.
And then tweeted, "Can we
Oh.
make our own city?"
Oh.
And then tweeted, "I am creating a joke new nation.
Is
Keep
it,
going straight
They-
past Senor Bun's end of the hallway. No rules here."
Okay, so it's not in
He's
Sandy
asking
Shores
Slacks
this
if he
time.
wants to be
Oh,
the
thank
head of
God.
Secretary of Defense for Snowflake Shores.
Hold on, they're talking a little bit.
What?
No, okay, that
yeah, that's
does sound
actual
like it's in
treason.
Sandy Shores, actually.
Another suggestion made to me. And let me just reference the actual charge. Possession of a tampered firearm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I actually was considering bringing that up. What were you thinking?
I think 15,000 is a bit too steep.
I agree.
When considering other firearm charges.
Yeah, because okay, so I'll just say it straight off. The reason why this is much higher than the other is because the tampered firearm is in and of itself tampered with and untraceable, which is why we want to deter people from obtaining them.
The problem with tampered firearms is that there's no trace to previous scene.
No, that's
there's no
understandable,
serial, so someone could use a gun, kill people for 3 weeks, get caught with it, and then there's no consequence because you can't tie them to
it's a ghost gun basically.
Yeah,
so
I can see
you hold on. You've confirmed that when you shoot these. Sorry for talking over you.
There's no ballistics on these guns.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say.
That's
so when
pretty crazy.
No. Let me clarify how it works. So when you shoot a gun, the projectile and the casing have identifiers on them. Those identifiers lead you back to the serial and the identifier of the firearm. The tampered firearm has no serial or identifier on it. Therefore, there is no gun to trace the bullets back to.
I'm confused.
Wow.
Shoot the gun.
Yeah, shoot the gun again.
Range? Yeah, like do a firearms test.
That doesn't work. They're basically tampered with to the degree where what would normally make the casing come back to that gun just doesn't exist.
I see.
The gun is shot in a way that comes out clean and cannot be traced ever. Doesn't matter if you shoot it or somebody else shoot it. The gun is modified in a way that it will never be traceable.
Okay.
Correct.
These are rare though. I think
that was the intent to make them
that
the
being
penalty
said,
high.
I agree with the fine if they're untraceable.
Yeah,
They are
I would
untraceable.
agree to that. My initial thing that I was going to bring up is just the worry that it would incentivize robbing civilians.
That was my concern. But
That is always look,
much less.
no matter
but,
no matter
yeah,
what.
no, that's fair.
It is always going to be the case that civilians are going to be targeted for firearms. This has always been the reality. So what we are going to do, or at least what I have begun to do, is specifically the following. We are making sure that only certain types of firearms will be sold by ammunition, so they are distinct from the tampered guns and the PD guns, both in ammunition type, so caliber, as well as gun appearance. In addition to that, all civilian issued firearms are stamped with the issuer ID, aka the state ID of the person who buys it. There will be a limit on how often you can purchase a gun from ammunition. That'll be like once a week or something like that. So the reality is that if these guns are stolen and are reported, the person who has the incentive to disseminate guns in a surreptitious way will have to choose between their own self-defense and arming someone else. On top of that, there are already factors in place that will deter the behavior, such as being responsible if it's not fully documented and reported. And, let's be real here. If someone is a serial, gun loser, their license may be revoked by the DOJ.
Yeah.
So PD have certain qualifications as to why they can revoke a gun license. The DOJ has carte blanche on that. So there are checks and balances to ensure that, this won't be abused. In terms of the possession of a criminal firearm class 1, what is it currently set at?
30 months, $3,500 fine.
I think it was,
Okay. So if that needs to be adjusted, we can consider that. We'll just see how rampant the issue is.
Yeah, now that the tampered gun thing has been explained, I honestly agree. That was what I wanted to bring up initially, so I thought it still would, but no, fine with me.
Did someone approach you about that, Mr. Mayor, asking about the fine for a tampered firearm?
Yeah, right in City Hall.
You know who it was?
It's gonna be.
You know what? Just gonna be rude and then say sorry. Mods, time them out for 180 seconds.
Ray Romanov.
Get a timeout.
Oh, okay. Good to know.
I might have to rephrase my statement because I was using information from 5 years ago, and that might not be correct.
Has that been changed?
309.
I was
That's
operating
fine.
on the same.
Audrey, I'm fine with your discretion.
I am kind of unsure because
Okay,
my assumption is
Are you talking about the firearm tracing?
We're talking about the same thing here,
ballistics.
Michael. I think what Michael and I are both saying is that if PD were to take the gun and to shoot it in their ballistics lab, they would not be able to identify the imperceptible differences between the bullets fired and the casings, such that they'd be able to match them to an independent scene without the serial on the gun.
Correct.
However, some officers might think they could do so. So I think Michael and I need to confirm the difference between belief and reality. Is that correct, Michael?
That is correct.
Okay.
Perfect sense.
If you have to run that up a certain chain, that's fine. I believe that was actually communicated in a meeting at PD after one was recovered, if I'm not mistaken.
I'll just some of my thoughts. If these guns can have ballistics run on them, maybe we consider dropping the fine. But
correct.
If they're ghost guns, I think it's fine as is.
Yeah,
No,
agreed.
Yeah,
agreed.
Absolutely.
I have other notes here. Scrolling. It's really chaotic in this list. Oh, actually, what do you guys think about people charged with misuse of rental vehicle being unable to rent vehicles?
We talked about it last time, but we wanted to find out if the money went into the state account, which it does. So do we want to keep just farming that money from the people who will use them?
Honestly, Nakota, I feel like I probably asked you this after we spoke about it last time. How much of an issue is it to this day, these rental vehicles being used in crime?
I would say it's getting less and less. People are more, I think, especially with the introduction of the VAF point system that we pushed last week. People are much more. I'm seeing a lot more flagged vehicles that are stolen. People are stealing vehicles if they're using them in the commission of crime. Sometimes people still use them, use the rentals. As far as, I'll be honest, I think we could just keep allowing them to use the rental spot for income to the state, because it also helps us identify people on certain scenes as well if they're dumb enough to use their own personal rental.
It comes through their bank account.
Because that's what we were all waiting for, was to see if it went to the state, and I confirmed that it did.
Yeah.
Those cars are also usually worse, so it's probably easier for y'all.
Okay. No particular change required then there. I believe that is all of my notes. I am going to be invoking my right to advocate for the pardon of Mr. K in regards to last night's court case. I am letting all of you know now, if you are impartial, we can organize the actual hearing via email chain or whatever.
Okay.
I'd like to see it
for that one. I don't know anything about it.
I'd like to see it happen within the week, or sorry, not within the week, within the next week. So this Monday all the way to Sunday or whatever.
To confirm, you're talking about specifically that possession charge that he lost the appeal on.
That whole incident.
Okay.
And we let's try to get a. God, look, just if you're available for it, just post your availability. Okay. Good. You guys are aware of that. Excellent. I think we're done.
Thank God.
Guys.
Could I say one thing before we go? I know this is something that came up in the back of my mind while we were talking about vehicles.
Sure.
People having upgrades stolen from their vehicle.
Sure.
Turbos specifically, it seems like.
Yeah.
I've heard several instances where people are literally being taken at gunpoint to mechanic shops to have them removed.
I've heard this too. They're stealing. Somebody, Xavier got his car stolen from City Hall.
I'm sorry.
That's a little concerning on multiple levels, but I was also
I heard myself
curious
talk.
if so right now the only charge we have is either a robbery charge or a tampering charge. I mean, if someone gets taken at gunpoint, obviously it's kidnapping and brought somewhere, right? I'm more referring to the stealing of the $10,000 to $15,000 turbo that's in the vehicle.
It's grand theft.
Okay. I was also wondering if there was any way, anyone in this room could speak to an individual or manufacturer of said turbos to get serial numbers installed to them, because right now they're almost impossible to trace, as far as I'm aware.
It's aggravated petty robbery.
Okay, and I'm gonna give you an example that happened. Xavier had his car parked in the parking garage back here behind the city hall. He went out, his car was missing, had been stolen. He went to Mosley's, a mechanic had taken the turbo out and just left the car behind. So there was no, like, you know, weapon or anything like that, and they didn't intend to deprive him permanently. It's just grand theft, and that is a $500 in 5 months.
Yeah. For a $10,000 to $15,000 piece of equipment.
But hold on, just so we're clear, you're talking about the reality of someone getting caught for this crime, correct? And how they would be punished?
You know how we required at one point in time tow workers to take a picture of the illegally parked vehicle? What if mechanics just require, like, proof of ownership to perform work like that?
Well, aren't they being held at gunpoint anyway?
Not gonna work either.
Not always, to my understanding, but I'm sure there are incidences where they are.
Okay, so here's my point. If we're talking about how to address the problem, I don't think the criminal charge is necessarily the prime recourse here, especially when property is stolen from one person to another, because the recourse would be the civil action. So if someone is caught and they're in a position to be charged with something, whether it's grand theft, aggravated petty robbery, extortion, whatever the charge is deemed to be made by the PD, kidnapping, whatever, right?
I don't want to. I think this is weird because I think the DOJ should handle this, and this should be something.
Once
There's already
the person
legal
is
recourse.
caught and charged for stealing your turbo or whatever, then you sue them.
Exactly.
I think the problem right now is the record keeping as far as those upgrades are, is that there's no way to trace them as far as I know. They can't prove that they had those turbos because there's no way to trace the purchase, or there's no serial numbers. So that's a whole other issue.
There's two things. One, we cannot fix it on the Mosley's or mechanic side of things, because anyone can be a mechanic, anyone can do it.
Nathan
you can
picked up
have
what
your
I was
friend
saying.
do
He
it.
knew what I meant, but like there's already a
no
court
way
redress
that
for
we
it.
can enforce any sort of documentation. I think serializing is a way, but I think we're going down a route of, if that's the case, we should just serialize anything that can be stolen. Also,
now there's compensatory.
yes,
we allow
pick
compensatory
vehicle,
damages in
but
civil suits, along with punitive.
To put it bluntly,
general,
buy a more expensive car with better security. I think it's an issue for PD in itself, because I tested that with Swartz. I lockpicked their car, and
it depends on the level of turbo. There's different turbos, and they have different prices.
Ignition in
my last turbo is
$7,500. But for other people, you're driving around in a shit bucket that I can lockpick and putting a 99 turbo in it. That is a questionable decision in the first place. People are expecting these turbos to make a big difference, and they don't really.
They really don't. They really
for some vehicles they do, but not all. And I just think it's because people just leave them in there, and then again, it's a shit bucket you're driving around, because